So, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for showing up to here. Thank you all to the candidates. Before beginning this forum, I would like to say that this event is student council led, and we did not endorse any and will not endorse any candidates in the election. We just want to give the candidates the fair shot, the fair chance to express their ideas and their views on how we can improve the Deming public schools. So with that being said, we will go ahead and proceed to the opening statements by the three candidates. The candidates will be seeking the position for the first district, right?
Yep.
And we have the first candidate, Mr. Daniel Krowl, sorry, Mr. Bill Delaney, and Patricia McSherry. So, starting with Mr. Daniel Krowl, you'll have 1 minute to give an opening statement. I'm sorry.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Daniel Krowl. I'm running for District 1 School Board. I would appreciate your vote and your support. I'm running on 3 points here. I'm running on success in the classroom with our students to make sure that we give them the right tools to be able to accomplish their hopes and their dreams. Number 2, to provide the most unbelievable support that we can to our teachers, because they're our backbone of this community, and they deserve that. And they're also the backbone of this district. Without them, nothing's possible. And the third thing is communication and transparency is so important. I think we need to make sure that we know what the community needs and what the community wants. That is so important, and I feel that we're not accomplishing that. So if I get that opportunity to serve you in District 1, I'm going to try to make that a priority.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Mr. Delaney? I'm sorry.
All right, my name is Bill Delaney. I'm a District 1 school board candidate. I'm also an occupational therapist. I serve at the Deming, New Mexico Hospital over here at Membres. I also serve on the board for the University of New Mexico School of Medicine Community Faculty Advisory Board. It's a long title. And so I have a kid in the school system, and that's one of the reasons I'm running today is not only, improve the chances for his education, but also all the children in the Deming population as well. Some of the things I want to do as a school board member, should I be elected, would be to work on the budget a little bit and see what we can do as far as not necessarily, it's always at tight times in Deming as always, and so working on a sustainable budget that would improve the dollars going to a classroom and not so much focus on other adventures. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Ms. McSherry.
Hi, I'm Patricia McSherry. Some of you know me as Tris McSherry. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background. I'm born and raised in Deming, as so many of us are, and so I have a deep love and commitment to this little town, and I want to see it become or stay vibrant and robust. And that kind of leads me into why I would like to be retained in my position as representative for District 1. I feel that it's imperative that we have an educated populace so that we might attract more light industry or more businesses that want to come here. And we can't do that if we can't offer them educated people. So 3 things that I believe that I bring to the table here. I give experience since I have been on the board, and I'm on the board now. I think I have a very objective outlook since I don't have children in school, and then a passion for education.
Thank you, Ms. McSherry. So we will start with the questions, asking you about the background first. So we would like to begin with Ms. McSherry for now.
And I am Mrs. Flores. I'm a teacher here at the high school, and I'm also a student council advisor, so I got to help put this on. So I'm just going to start off with asking some introductory questions. We'll start with one of the candidates, and then we'll go through, and then the second question, we'll start with the second candidate, and then we'll go through so everyone has a chance to go first. So, first question, Mr. Krowl, we'll start with you. Yes, I'm sorry, Ms. Sherry. What particular skills or experiences qualify you to serve as a school board member?
Well, I went to school. I am a graduate of the University of New Mexico. I'm a licensed pharmacist. Right now, I serve as the director of pharmacy at the hospital here. In the past, I've been on quite a few different boards. I was chairman of the New Mexico Board of Pharmacy for 8 years. I was president of the New Mexico Pharmacists Association for 4 years. I've been on several boards miscellaneous boards that have to do with healthcare in New Mexico. So I've learned a lot, and I have a lot of experience in not only the functions of boards, but how to work with administrators and administration.
Thank you, Ms. McSherry. Mr. Delaney, time starts now.
Sure. So the reason I want to serve on the school board, and I feel that I'm capable and willing to do so, I serve on the University of New Mexico School of Medicine Board for community faculty up there. I also have some experience in leadership, and then also I'd like to take a collaborative approach with any team I'm with, and so working together to produce the best outcomes. I feel that one of my greatest strengths is listening to people, so I'm pretty good at shutting my mouth and listening before I make a decision. So that way I can make the informed decision, but I'm also willing to step up and say something when I feel strongly about what needs to be changed or what needs to be done differently. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney.
Mr. Cole, some questions, do you need me to read it?
Yeah, read it.
Okay. What particular skills or experiences qualify you to serve as a school board member?
Well, first of all, I graduated from here, this institution here at Deming High School. I'm part of this community. I graduated from Western New Mexico University. I have a small business in this community called Three Chips Construction. I also am invested in this community. I love this community. I'm part of this community. I have made this community my home. I could have picked anywhere else to go once I graduated from college, but I decided to stay here, so I'm invested in this community. I want this community to succeed. And my biggest potential, or what I'm good at, is getting things done. I make things happen no matter what, and I don't give up until I get my way. That's the way it's got to be. So you elect me as the school board member, things will get done.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll.
Next question is from Mr. Delaney. How many school board meetings have you attended in the past year, and what have you done in the past year to support our schools?
Support the schools. Sure. I haven't attended any school board meetings the past year. I do local PTC meetings. It's all those for Chaparral Elementary. I'm a kid in that school system, and so I feel like working at the local level gets things done that way. As a school board member, I'll attend all the school board meetings.
And Mr. Kroll, go to you. How many school board meetings have you attended in the past year, and what have you done in the past year to support our schools?
In the past year, I attended one, which I did last month, or this month, I guess. One of the reasons why I hadn't attended school board meetings, because it's not found anywhere. You go online, you got to look for it to find out what day it is, number one. And I know it's the third Thursday of the month, but everybody forgets. We get this calendar every year right here. Every kid gets it. They sure don't list it and tell you this is the day we need to be here at the school board to support our community. And that's something that I'm willing and I'm going to do. I'm going to have that there so everybody knows what day the school board is, so everybody can go to the school board. The second thing I said, I think it needs to be recorded so that everybody knows what's happening, what decisions are being made, that it's going to affect our kids.
And then Ms. McSherry's question is a little bit different because you have been on the school board as a disciplinary competent member. What would you say is your proudest accomplishment serving on the school board?
I was ready to answer that other question. Because I've attended well over 20, and I haven't even been on the board for 20 months. But I would like to comment that attending or being on the school board does take a lot of time, which I'm willing to commit, because there are often things that come up in between the monthly school board meetings that we have to make a decision on quickly, but of course we have to comply with the Open Meetings Act and we have to announce it. And just as a point, and I went to look because people say it's not anywhere. It's on Facebook, it's on the radio, which I heard the other day. It's in the newspaper, and of course, it's posted on the front of
Thank you, Mr. McSherry.
the place.
Next question.
So we're going to be moving on to student concerns. So we reached out to the students via our social media and in our classrooms and through school email. So these are questions that have come from students, and I'm going to pass over these questions to Amelie to continue the questioning.
Okay, so first question from the students is, what inspired you to work for the school, and why do you want to help the kids? The first question is directed toward Mr. Krowl.
Well, one of the reasons I decided to work for the school board and what's that's important is that we have to give back to our community, especially if we're involved. So that's what I want to do, be able to give back. This community has given so much to me, has supported my business, so it's time for me to reach out and do what I can do to support our community, to support our young people, to give them the best opportunity that we can get to give them. That's what I feel.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Mr. Delaney, the same question is directed to you.
Let me repeat the question.
The question is, what inspired you to work for the schools, and why do you want to help the kids?
Sure. Inspired me to work for the schools is my child, my son. I have an 8-year-old son in 2nd grade right now, and I want to keep him here in Deming, doing the best he can, you know. So that's my inspiration there. As far as what I think I can bring to the table, again, I bring a collaborative approach. I listen to all parties involved, not only on the board, but outside information as well, and try to make that best decision and what I feel is right for the schools and then for our community. I'll listen to constituents, I'll listen to teachers, I'll listen to students. Listening is the strength of mine.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Same question to Ms. McSherry.
So I decided that it was time to apply to be appointed to the school board, and just for the same basic reasons. You know, I feel that it's important that I donate some of my talents, such as they are, to improving things. And I've been talking to a friend quite a bit about economic development and things that Deming could do to maintain or become more robust as far as businesses. And one of the things that we determined was a very well-educated populace. And I thought that this might be the opportunity for me to get in and do what I can to help in that.
Thank you, Ms. McSherry. We have another question that is a student concern, and this time we'll be starting with Ms. McSherry. The question is, how would you help increase student involvement in academics and activities, and how would you contribute to groups in the schools or in extracurricular groups, such as drama and robotics?
Can you read it again?
Yes. So the question is, how would you help increase student involvement in academics and activities, and how would you contribute to those activities?
To increase student involvement in academic activities. And I think just by supporting the various student groups, I know that at each of the school board meetings, we do have the student spotlight where the various student groups do come and let us know what they're doing. And I think just offering personal support there, and then helping them get maybe grants, money, that sort of thing, to make it so that they can participate not only in local and regional things, but maybe in national events as well. I think that always does help a lot.
Thank you, Ms. McSherry. Mr. Delaney, same question.
Yeah, supporting students in academics activities, including school and after school. You've got to have your 4 walls built. You have to make sure you got food, shelter. You need some transportation, all that kind of stuff. So what I would do is make sure there's a good budget for the after-school transportation, so the activities buses and that sort of thing. And that way we can make sure all students, even if they can't get a ride home after school or whatever, that we have some transportation available, because they're not going to want to attend if they don't have a ride. That's that kind of thing. And also make sure they're fed too, for providing after-school activity. Make sure it eats into that dinner or post-school snack time. Make sure they're fed.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Mr. Kroll?
Can you read the question again, please?
Yes, absolutely. The question is, how would you help to increase student involvement in academics and activities, and how would you contribute to those activities?
Well, one way I would do is try to see if we can get more parents involved, so we can be able to support our young ones and be able to give them that opportunity to reach their goals, their dreams, give them things that they can do here in the community involvement. Also, whatever we can do here in the school to better them. So you talked about the robotics class. I think it's important that we bring that out to light. I think it's the future. So we need to be able to bring out certain things, make sure we have it in the budget to be able to use things like that.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Our next question is also a student concern, and we'll be starting with Mr. Delaney. The question is, what flaws do you see and want to change in our school system?
So flaws in the school system, we have a pretty decent sized budget for the school system. We need to see more of that spent into the students and into the classroom. I know a lot of that goes through salaries, but we got to work it out to where we can make more of that money. I count the teacher salaries in that estimation. The more money you put in the classroom, the better results, the better turnout you're going to see from those students. That would be my main thing, is just making sure we can squeeze as many dollars as we can into the classroom and get that going.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Mr. Kroll, the same question.
Read the question again, please.
The question is, what flaws do you see and want to change in our education system or in our school system?
Well, one of the things that we need to change is the communication's got to be better so parents know what's going on. The parents have to be involved. If the parents are not involved, nothing's going to happen. So back in the day when I went to school here, my parents were involved, parents were involved, things got done. And I think that's something that needs to happen. The second thing is that, we need to just give back, plain and simple. Everybody needs to volunteer, go out there and try to help, mentor a kid, do a bunch of things that we can do to be able to support our school district.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Ms. McSherry, would you like me to repeat the question again?
No. And this is probably not really a popular idea, but I think just in general, if we're going to talk about the educational system in the United States and everything, I think that we need to really focus more on education, and that's really what we expect of youth. Your whole reason for being while you're a student, while you're a young person, is to become educated. That's your job. That's what you should be doing. And I think that we've kind of lost that, and we do say, okay, there's school, but that kind of takes a lot of time out of my life, and I need to do other things. And I think we should get back to the idea that this is what you do. We teach you. We spend a lot more time, and maybe we need to even increase the amount of time that we have in the classroom.
Thank you, Ms. McSherry. The next question is from a Deming High School student. Mr. Kroll will be going first. The question is, what will you do about bullying in our school district?
Well, that's actually a pertinent thing. My son came home one day and said he was getting bullied. It's something that we got to be able to fix because of what's going on in the community. It's something we need to nip in the bud. Because what happens is kids that get bullied, they eventually get upset, they get mad, they get angry, and bad things happen. So I feel that we need to address it. I think we need to bring it up on a regular basis. Kids that get bullied, they need to be helped, they need to be guided, and those that are bullying need to stop. That's what needs to happen, and that requires parents, that requires our teachers, that requires our administration, because if we don't nip it in the bud, bad things can happen.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Mr. Delaney, would you like me to repeat the question?
No. Yeah, bullying is a huge issue, not just in our schools, but nationwide. Some of the things we can do is tap into those national initiatives and help. They have their own resources that can help us to utilize those resources. But additionally, for bullying, the school board, the ways that we can change that would be the policies as well as the budgeting. Budgeting would be trying to see if we can have any more social workers to help with the bullying part of that deal. And then the policy change would be looking at more stringent policies for kids who are maybe perpetrators of the bullying or chronic bulliers. If they have one or two problems with the bullying, maybe not a bad deal. But if they're chronically getting in trouble with this, then we need to address that pretty rapidly.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Ms. McSherry, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, it's okay. I agree with Mr. Delaney that I think that what we need to do is to be more strict with and servant of those people who are the bullies, because I think sometimes that we just let them get away with it and then it continues. But I do know that in some of the classrooms, and especially in some of the lower grades, we do have some of the programs that stress responsibility and compassion and that sort of thing. And I would like to see that all the way through the school, that we need to keep that up. And then to talk about things that go on in the national news and that sort of thing, and say, okay, is this right? Is this what we want from our country, and is this how we want to behave?
Thank you, Ms. McSherry. The last question that is a student concern says, on Thursday, September 19th of this year, our school implemented a shelter-in-place for a weapons search. What would you do to ensure the safety of the students and the staff of Deming High School? And we'll be starting with Ms. McSherry.
Well, I think that the way the school is built is certainly kind of the first step that we've done. I noticed that when you come into the lobby downstairs, you don't just walk right into the office, or you can't just walk right into the hallways. And so I think the structure of the school is important. And I do know that some money, if we get our 2 mil levy passed, is going to go to implementing some better security for the grade schools. So I think that that's good. The other thing is to just have some training. I know in the hospital we just had some training on active shooter, and so that can't be done enough. I think everybody needs to know what to do, when to do, how to do it, where to protect themselves.
Thank you, Ms. McSherry. The same question to Mr. Delaney. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, got it.
Thank you.
All right, so, school safety, huge issue. It's a brave new world out there. It's like the world set on fire with all sorts of craziness. So what I would do as a board member, we can address the policies, procedures, and budgeting. All right, 3 things we can do. So what I would do is allow we do need the training, but as well as, it's a tough one. I think a best offense is good defense, and so make sure there's good social workers to address those issues so that they don't happen, as well as support our police and our community. They need you to come on campus for a search. They're allowed to search backpacks, whatever they need to. If it's on this property, it needs to get searched.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Mr. Krowl, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, I would.
On Thursday, September 19th of this year, our school implemented a shelter-in-place for a weapons search. What would you do to ensure the safety of the students and the staff of our schools?
It comes down to community support. It comes down to training. It comes down to making the right decisions, budgeting for the right things. I'll give you a good example. In my child's school, people can just walk in, literally. So there has to be an effort to try to make things happen here to protect our kids, plain and simple. So that's what needs to happen. I know that we're waiting for the 2 mil levy and things are going to change and whatnot, but don't you think it should have been done here many years ago or several years ago when all these shootings started to happen? It's something serious. And then back to that bullying, if we start nipping that thing in the bud, I think kids are going to realize, hey, we can't do this here. We have support. There's programs out there. So we need to start at the beginning.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll.
So now we're going to move back into some other concerns that we got from either teachers, parents, or the community members. And our first question is going to be about food, our school's food. And this question, so what are your thoughts about our district's food systems, and how would you address specific dietary needs? And this question goes to
Mr. Delaney.
Sure, dietary needs. Yeah, so we have all sorts of people with different diets. Kids don't do well with sugars. You look at school menus, especially in elementary, just loaded down with carbs. So how can we address that is make a better, more friendly kind of diet, but you have to stay within this structure that promotes carbohydrates as a big, big part of our diet, which, my household is completely different, but educating parents about different types of diet, but also making some resources available for those children who do need specialized diets or prefer those specialized diets, such as vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free. Those would be beneficial. I know most students probably have to just bring it from home if they have a specialized diet.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Mr. Kroll.
Well, my child brings his lunch no matter what. I just found that the lunch that me and my wife have noticed here at the school is completely full of sugar. And if I want to continue making him run around and do this and that, I have to provide him a lunch. So maybe we need to start addressing some things that need to change, a little bit more wholesome food that needs to happen, and something that's really appealing and amazing. I know back in the day, we used to have some amazing food at the cafeteria. I think times have changed. I know kids want to eat pizza all the time and whatnot, but we got to go back to what we eat our vegetables, you know. So that's what I feel about it.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Ms. McSherry.
Well, in the budget, we have, I would ensure that we have sufficient money for food, which we do. And we have a very capable woman who runs the cafeteria system. And I know that she is always looking for better ways to take the money that she has and to try to make menus that meet the needs of everyone. And certainly that's a challenge when you're talking about going anywhere from kindergarten all the way to high school students. And often it's difficult, but I think that we just have to continue to look, continue to see what's available statewide to support us.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. McSherry. Next question.
Next question. One of the duties of the school board is to employ a superintendent for the school district. What, in your opinion, should be the role of the superintendent?
Mr. Kroll.
He's the mouthpiece of the community. He's the mouthpiece of the district. So he should be up front and be approachable at any time. That is a very important job in the community. He needs to let people know and communicate what's going on in this district. He needs to back up the teachers. He needs to back up the administration. Whatever that needs to happen, he needs to be up in the forefront, period. If he's not here, that can't happen. So I believe that he needs to be here. He needs to be here and make his name, his presence known.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Ms. McSherry.
Well, really look at the administration and the structure of the school a lot like any other business where the superintendent really is the CEO. And so he's here, he has his own cabinet of people, the financial people, the curriculum people, all of those, and he supervises them, and then he has the principals who then deal with their own school as they will. And I see his position not only as to kind of give us the, the theme of what we do, but also to support his principals and let them do their work in their schools so that they can be successful.
Thank you, Ms. McSherry. Mr. Delaney.
Sure. So a great superintendent needs to have excellent listening capabilities. So they need to be able to listen, take in, process that information, and then also act on that information. So part of that is you can't have a superintendent that's just stuck in an office somewhere behind a desk kind of thing. They have to get out there and do the footwork. So they have to get out there, listen to their principals, go talk to the teachers, student unions, get out there and just listen as much as possible, absorb that information, and then implement some plans to change that. As well as that, the superintendent reports to the board, and so those reports need to be accurate, and then also need to have a game plan for changes.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney.
Next question is from a teacher. There are many students who are failing math at the secondary level. Do you have any ideas about how to help our kids in this area?
Ms. McSherry.
Oh, yes. I think that you can incorporate math into just almost every other subject. So, I'm not a math teacher, but I think that it would work well. And just to show them how math works in your life, because really, it just, if you're a housewife, if you're a farmer, if you're a pharmacist, anything you do, you use math every day, all day long. And I think that if you could let the students understand that it's not this big, terrible thing, but it's something that's going to help you and that you need to know, and it will make your life easier if you understand math. And so supporting the math teachers and that department is very important.
Thank you, Ms. McSherry.
To clarify, you said at the secondary level?
Yes, the high school, middle school and high school level.
Middle school, high school. Okay. So the best way I think to approach this is just make sure every student is challenged to their best ability, as far as making sure the work is engaging, entertaining, not just handouts and that sort of thing. There should be a policy change there, and then some leaning on the superintendent to make some changes. There's programs that have been implemented in the early education that could be like IXL, work well for those students. Just try to engage the students as best as possible. Math can be a tough subject. Sometimes you either love it or you hate it. It's one of those things. But also just, making the math classes maybe earlier in the day might help as well.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Mr. Kroll.
There again, I think the community, the parents need to be involved, period. I mean, to be able to support their kids. I know our math teachers are doing an amazing job. They're doing everything they can. But we do need to challenge our kids to be able to do whatever they can do. And I'll give you a good example. My boy is having a little problem. He's in kindergarten. I got him a tutor. I don't play around. So something needs to happen. And if kids are having a problem, they need to be taken aside in special groups and try to solve the situations and then get up to speed where everybody's at.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll.
And our last parent or teacher community concern question is, what is your opinion of the school district policies regarding students who speak English as a second language? How would you assist them if you were elected to board?
Mr. Delaney.
Sure. So there's no one language in the United States or in the state of New Mexico. You can speak whatever language you wish to, as long as you want to. So how would I support them? Make sure tests are available in Spanish and English. If the test is written, make sure we have somebody on staff that's a certified Spanish interpreter that can translate that for them. Because a lot of times, Spanish and English is very easy to take it and just have Google Translator do it or something like that. But if you have an actual person that is a dual language person certified in that, they can really get the nuances of that and make sure those tests and their abilities can be tested accurately.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Mr. Kroll.
Repeat the question, please.
What is your opinion of the school district's policies regarding students who speak English as a second language? How would you assist those students if elected?
Yeah, that's a big subject, I guess. The one thing that I would do is, we need to be able to support our kids no matter what language they speak. We need to get behind them. That's why they're here. They're here to learn. So whether they know it in English or in Spanish, we need to make the appropriate arrangements to be able to support them. So that's what needs to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Ms. McSherry.
So two-part question, basically. What is my opinion of how we deal with that? And just at the last board meeting, I heard just a really interesting presentation about how one of the schools is doing this, where they're teaching all the subjects in English and then in Spanish, so that you incorporate their language into the academics of the day. And I think that that's really a very interesting way to get somebody to be bilingual. I think that's good, so that's my opinion of it. How would I support that? Probably more money.
Thank you, Ms. McSherry.
Okay, and that is all for our parent community teachers' concerns. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Ahmed, and he's going to give us our last question for the day before your closing statement.
Okay, so the last question is, what are 2 to 3 needs that must be priorities for our district to address, and why do you see them as needs? Mr. Kroll.
Well, I think one of the number one priorities is that we have to support our teachers. That's what it comes down to. They're the backbone of this district. They do everything. They do the heavy lifting. If they don't have the right tools, if they don't have the right budget to be able to accomplish what they need, how can they teach our kids? So I think that's the most important thing. The other thing would have to be the communication. We got to build that up significantly. I know Mrs. McSherry had mentioned that they put the board meeting on Facebook and they do this. They put this on Facebook, they put it on the paper, they did this, they did that, and look how many people are here. So the community's got to get involved, but we got to keep repeating it over and over and over again in order to get people involved.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Ms. McSherry.
Tell me again.
The question is, what are 2 to 3 needs that must be priorities for our district to address, and why do you see them as needs?
Well, and I don't want to repeat or step on anybody's toes here, but I do think that it's very important that we have not only parental involvement, but community involvement. And so we do need to expand our outreach, and we do need to stress to the parents that, you know, the school is not someplace you send your kid to pass the time of day. No, it's someplace where they're going to go and learn things, but you have to be involved too. Because we all know, and we've seen it, that those children who have parents that are involved do better. So how do we do it? I don't know that answer, but that's one of the things I think we should head toward. Second thing is be more transparent.
Thank you, Ms.
Because I
McSherry.
agree with that.
Mr. Delaney, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yep, got it. So 3 things that need to be improved upon or changed. One would be academics, just focus as much money as we can into that, as far as making sure every dollar that we can, I'm a zero-based budget kind of guy, every dollar to the classroom we can squeeze out of that budget. Second, our vocational program is strong, and we need to support that. Not every kid's going to school, you know, only like 30% of the U.S. population goes to school, and that's great for them if they go into college, but we need to support those trades and, you know, make sure there's a budget set aside that's strong, driven for that. Third would be for our special education, identify those students who are exceptional or delayed and get them as much help and as much of the budget as we can afford.
And at this time, you will have a chance to give a 1-minute closing statement before we take a brief intermission. And we will start, we're going to reset our clock. And we will begin with,
Starting with Mr. Krowl.
I thank you for everybody being here. Thank you for Student Council hosting this. I really appreciate it. I need your support. I need your vote on November 5th for the District 1 School Board. If you want change, if you want someone to get things done, please vote for me. That's the only way it's going to happen. So I would appreciate your vote and your support. Without you, nothing's possible.
Thank you, Mr. Krowl. Ms. McSherry.
I would just like to say that I think I would be the preferred candidate for this position because I have been in this role for about 18 months now, probably 17. And I've learned a lot, and I think I can take that education that I've had about what we do and what the schools do and what the needs are, and I can roll it into more help for the various things that we need to do, like parent involvement as far as community involvement, look at some more programs that we might be able to offer, certainly supporting the various student activities. That's the best part of the meetings is when the students come and tell us all the good things they're doing. That's so good. And to let everybody else know, I think that that's important because I just hate it when people say our schools aren't doing anything. If you came to one of the meetings and you looked at these kids and listened to them, you'd say, wow, that's just wonderful. Why aren't they all doing it?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Delaney.
Sure. Delaney, District 1 for school board. I'm a proven leader, collaborator, listener. I'm going to listen to everybody that needs to be, I'm going to make them heard, and I'm hoping to spread, get policies changed, implement new ideas, not just for me. I'm just a conduit for the board, for y'all. So, I'm hoping to get all the ideas I can from teachers, parents, students, constituents as well, and make it a better school board.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney.
all right, candidates, thank you so much. We appreciate